Hello and welcome to the Rock and Roll Podcast. I'm your host, John Harris, usually floating around. He is people's favorite on this show. It's not me, which, you know, I'm a humble guy, so it's okay. But my son, Gabriel, is our assistant engineer. He's usually floating around, but he's finishing up school right now, doing online school. But he'll be here in spirit. Today on Rock and Roll Podcast, we have VIOLET RIOT. And I have to scream it because there's an exclamation point at the end of it. Which I looked up on the internet. I did not know this. Consider me ignorant. A violet riot is a riot of violets or something. It's like a plant.
So many colors at once.
Yeah, which is crazy.
Violet.
And speaking of so many colors at once, you guys have been releasing a couple of singles as of late to at the end of 2020 there, it looked like. So everybody out there in the world, we're being joined by Karli and Colton to share some more information about what VIOLET RIOT has got going on, these tracks that they've released, what's coming down the pipeline. So, gang, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us.
You are quite welcome. Now, I guess let's just start with these two tracks and what we'll call that really easy year that we just finished, 2020. Take us through that year and how these singles came to be released towards the end of the year. And I guess what my question is, were you guys planning on releasing them maybe earlier in the year? Did you have a different marketing plan? Or was this the plan? You guys have been working on it, and there it is.
We just kind of had we had a few like songs we've been sitting on for a while, and we decided last year we would start putting some of them out, and there wasn't anything else for us to do, no shows to play, nothing to plan for or anything else. So we thought we'd just be an online presence and try and tap into that as much as we could. And thankfully we were able to put those out and get a decent local response from it. And, you know, opportunities like this come up, and this is really cool. And yeah, we've been really enjoying it. Like, it was a tough year, as you know, for everybody last year, but, you know, we made the best of it in terms of, you know, online, and maybe Karli can have a better description of that than I can.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like Colton said, we go with the flow a little bit, and I feel like we just release things when it feels right. Colton and I are really good friends, obviously, and so sometimes we'll just kind of be like, you know, this music's pretty good, I think we should let people hear it now. And then boom, we'll just do up like a lyric video and like push it to our friends and stuff. And like Colton was saying, we love to, you know, hang out in the online world. And yeah, I don't know. It's been really fun creating these songs. And yeah, I think we started recording 2 or 3 years ago, and we just kind of put it out there, you know?
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
it's been a lot of fun.
Okay, so you mentioned a few things there that we can touch base on. Number one is you mentioned a decent local response. Now, funny enough, I'm also in Edmonton, so this is kind of like a local thing going on right now.
Excellent.
Right, which is cool because it's also online. So it's kind of a crazy way that 2020 has shaped the local response, that we're online, but we're local.
Yes. The
Right.
distancing thing, yeah, making sure, yeah, it's like, it's too bad we all can't just hang out, but, you know, it's safety first, you know.
Yeah, we have plans to like gig. We really want to do live shows and stuff, and like in the past few years we were just kind of working on recording and like collaborating. Eventually we did want to gig, but then everything like unfolded that way, and so we've just been kind of like patiently waiting to hear what's going to happen before we plan on doing gigs.
Mm-hmm. Well, you know the story. You just got to go to Hawaii, and then it'll be okay.
Yes. Yeah, it's a great idea. We should do that.
Yeah. Social distancing. You have to stay at least 5,000 clicks away from Alberta at all times. That's what you got to do.
I like that. The weather's nice too.
It is. Actually, it's pretty warm out today. I think I haven't been outside yet, but yesterday was like +4. Are you kidding me? In January? Really?
Yeah, I was actually really impressed. I was outside for a bit, and I was really happy with that.
Yeah, I'll take it. Now,
that way, I like it.
yeah. Now, you guys mentioned this was started a couple years ago. That seems, and I'm not trying to say like downplay it, but that seems pretty extensive for only a couple of tracks. So maybe take us through that. Is it like a super dramatic story? Because I want all the juice. I want to squeeze it, and I want all the juice.
No, we both have lots of other involvements, and this has sort of just been something that we come to when we have time, and it's meant to be for fun, and we both lead very busy lives. Like Karli runs her music school, and that takes up a lot of time, and she has other musical endeavors that she is part of as well, and I have several other musical projects as well that take up time. So this is it's always been just sort of a casual, fun thing that we come to when we have time, and whenever we do, we always enjoy it and have so many cool things that come from it.
Yeah, and I think Colton had started the writing process like before I joined the project. So we were actually called Mutual Friends before we rebranded to Violet Riot. And I feel like Colton titled it Mutual Friends because a lot of the songwriting was collaborative work with him and his buddies and musician friends that he knows, right? So when Colton asked me to join the project, I essentially just brought the vocal melodies and the lyric ideas, and we just kind of like I said, recorded over time to put these songs out. But yeah, then we saw the potential that the songs had and decided, hey, let's rebrand this and make it a bit more inviting and interesting and colorful, and put our unique brand on it. So yeah, it's taken like a couple years, like Colton was saying, because I run a vocal coaching business, and I'm starting to get into like artist development. I'm starting to take my own songwriting a bit more seriously and put more work into my creative process, learning a bit more about structuring songs. I started by writing metal music on guitar, and so like I want to start to help Colton write these pop punk songs. So I need to learn a little bit more about like riffing on guitar for pop punk as compared to metal, because they're like completely different genres, right? So yeah.
Karli's symphony lately has been really good, so yeah, she's definitely got a good guitar skill on top of that too.
I guess instead of being mad at your dad, you're mad at your ex-girlfriend. Like that's the difference between metal and pop punk.
Yeah, actually, probably, yeah. Considering that seems to be the theme of a lot of songs, I find whenever I encounter, the pop punk genre, there's always that ex-girlfriend, boyfriend dynamic to it. One thing I wanted to touch on quickly too is when it came to writing the songs that we have, Brad Simons from Velveteen Audio was very instrumental in helping us with arrangements and co-write and whatnot, and he definitely was a very large part of pushing, to create songs. Because I was doing a lot of cover stuff with Brad at Velveteen years ago, and that's where the Mutual Friends name came from, because there were so many mutual friends in the scene playing these cover pop punk songs that I was trying to having fun with, and then Brad was like, "You got to do originals, no more of this cover stuff." and that's when Karli came into the picture through, I think it was her friend Nathan Kidd, who runs Method Sound. He was the one that said, "Hey, there's a great vocalist friend of mine that you should meet," and that was about 3-4 years ago, and then Karli, liked what he heard, and we started working together, and it's been fantastic ever since.
Wow. I'm looking up Velveteen on the internet right now. They have a very nice website. It looks like they've got a lot of very nice gear, very nice people. I've said very nice 4 times now.
Yeah, no, they're a wonderful bunch. Brad built an excellent team there, and yeah, they've been just wonderful to us. And a huge help. Very, very
Very cool, especially, going back to the local thing, finding out, because a lot of times studios, because years ago I had done some research on recording studios in Edmonton, and I came across some staples, like the Audio Room, for example. And the funny thing is how many of these are just so hard to find, and then you end up finding one, and you're like, this exists down the street? Like, are you kidding me?
Yep.
And you can't find it, and I'm like, how's business? Like, does it suck? Because there's no street sign, and they're like, well, if we have a street sign, people are going to come in and steal our gear, so we can't. And it's not like somebody drives by like a cheeseburger and is like, oh, I'm hungry, I should go to, get to that cheeseburger. Instead, it's not like, oh man, that album I was supposed to record. Then they do a U-turn.
yeah.
But very cool, and definitely top production. So did you guys record the stuff here? Or did you guys record like in your home studio and then send it to them to process?
It was a lot of different, some of it was done with Velveteen. Karli did some vocals at her place as well. We've had some guest musicians on there. We had the bass player from Alien Ant Farm on one song, which was so basic, actually. We had, but mostly it was local players. We did have Steve Klein, who used to be in Newfound Glory. He was on Shatter Every Limit. He played some additional guitar parts and bass on that. So we've been lucky to have some pretty interesting people come along and guest on our songs, and we're going to continue to have that trend as we continue to work together. But when it came, the majority of recording was done with here in town with Brad and then Karli at her home studio.
Okay. Now, Karli, you had mentioned you're learning how to write in this new style. So I'm curious, what is it about the style that attracts you to it to work with that learning curve?
Yeah. Well, I'm like a self-taught guitar player. I taught myself how to play metal first. But I've always been like a huge fan of like emo and like pop punk, just growing up. Actually, my older sister influenced me to start listening to bands like Blink-182 and Good Charlotte and so yeah, when it comes to learning more about pop punk on guitar, I think I just have started to listen to a bit more modern pop punk on Spotify. Like some of my favorite bands right now are Yours Truly. I wrote a list because I can't remember these things. Yours Truly, like Chief State and Belmont are some of my new favorites to listen to. Their music is just so high energy, and that's what I love about this modern style of pop punk, because it kind of like merges the energy of metal with the pop punk guitar playing, and it's just so inspiring to me, and I would love to learn how to create something similar to that, but like with our own spin on it,
Mm-hmm. I was telling Colton before we got on that when Danny over at Oddball sent me the stuff, my immediate knee-jerk reaction was, this is like Avril Lavigne mixed with something else, and I couldn't quite pinpoint what it was. And then Colton's like, Paramore, and I'm like, right, it's Avril Lavigne.
Yes.
And Paramore is Avril Paramore. That's what it is. But I'm a massive fan of Avril's work, like 98% of her work, and I think that for somebody who's learning it, you did a really good job, at least in the 2 tracks that I've heard.
Right. Yeah, totally. Paramore is a huge influence of mine. Totally. And same thing with Colton. But vocally, I just, I love powerful vocals. I love high notes, and I just kind of do my thing,
Mm-hmm. Okay. You mentioned those bands. I'm so old. Like when I think of pop punk, I think of like Starting Line.
Yes. Yeah. Starting Line, Yellow Card.
Yep. Boom. There it is.
No, the old school stuff is always, that's got its own magic, special stuff. But like Karli was mentioning, how some of the newer stuff, like State Champs and Chief State and whatnot, it has a very different sort of energy. It's sort of, I was scared for a while that it would never come back after say 2009 or 10, but after starting around 2013, it started to slowly show signs of life again, and definitely. Ever since then, it's just been gaining momentum every year, as coming back as a prominent genre in the world, and It's wonderful to see, because it's definitely, I didn't know if it would ever happen again, but it's definitely getting a large second wave, and it's good.
Yeah,
I'm really happy with that.
Yeah, I've definitely had a few pop punk bands on the show that have gotten the newer ones, and. It's kind of funny because growing up, I heard pop punk and I thought it was this manufactured thing that was like the Backstreet Boys. Like nobody does it. Like they get put together by Disney and it makes money. So they smile and dance kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But it was shocking to talk to these bands and they're like, I love pop punk. This is what I want to do. And I'd be like, are you real? Like, are you serious? Like, seriously? That's cool. And it's like just expressing out loud, I guess, in a very ignorant way. But like, I didn't think it was real, but it's real. Yellow Card is real, Colton.
Ocean Avenue.
Ocean Avenue, baby. Yeah, you guys are real, which is cool. And also shows the breadth of musicianship, because you guys are coming from different angles, different projects, and putting this together from a different perspective. So very cool stuff. Now, these 2 tracks.
Yeah.
Sorry?
Oh no, sorry. I just wanted to quickly say that I was really happy that because Karli comes from the metal background, and that was really sort of her main thing for a long time, and so I was always so stoked that she was willing to try something that was pretty much almost on the opposite side of the spectrum, and she's done such an amazing job, with done with it that I feel very lucky.
Yeah, I'm actually terribly
kind of just meshed together.
I mean, obviously separate show altogether, but I'm terribly curious because of what I'm hearing here, Karli. I'm super curious. Your metal side, is it like a spirit box kind of thing where you're mixing in angelic vocals with all of a sudden out of nowhere, like the devil comes in? If you know who Spirit Box
yeah,
is.
let's talk about it.
Do you know who Spirit Box is?
Box.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, totally. I love them. Her cleans are angelic, and her obviously her harsh vocals are demonic. I love the contrasting vocals. I think it's really beautiful to add both things. And there are a couple of vocalists that are hybrid singers like that I admire in the metal scene. One of my other favorites, aside from Spirit Box right now, is Adrian Cohen from Seven Spires. Mm-hmm. And they have a little bit of a different genre compared to Spirit Box, but anyways, for myself, I don't use a lot of the harsh vocals. So when I say that I'm inspired by metal, it's majority clean singing, but power singing. So another one of my favorites right now is Brittany Slayes from Unleash the Archers, because her range is phenomenal and her voice just blows me away. I've been a fan of them since about 2018, and she actually inspired me to start singing in general because I was so blown away by the power in her voice. It lit something up inside of me that I was like, I need to be a singer. So cool. I threw myself into a metal band, and I was like, I'm doing this. I'm super stoked on it. But I feel like in the future, I might start to incorporate some of the harsh vocals. I have a curiosity to learn how safely. And I do know of a extreme vocal coach that I've bumped into online, that he does an amazing job at teaching singers how to use that style of voice and not blow their voice out. Mm-hmm. So I might consider learning that and maybe integrate it into our future songs,
Yeah, like a backing layer. Nobody really knows it's there, but it wouldn't be the same without it.
Totally.
Very cool. Now, these two tracks, you guys have been writing for a while. So Basic looks like came out first. I got the Spotify page up behind me so that I can hopefully have something credible to say. But it looks like on Halloween, you guys released Blame Me, and it's an Amberlin cover. Out of all the covers in the world, why this particular one, and why not another original track to show us what you guys are doing?
The Amberlin one was actually that I started putting that together about 5 years ago with some friends at Velveteen, and we just couldn't find anybody to sing it, and it sat in my Dropbox as a Pro Tools session for about 4.5 years, and then when Karli and I earlier in the year were talking about, let's throw another cover out there, let's see what we can do with it. I threw her that session, and she liked it and did her thing with it, and then we decided to put it out there. I actually don't really have much of an explanation for it, to be honest.
Oh, I want to add to it. So I love how I kind of believe in divine timing, and to me that means things will happen when they happen. And it's just kind of perfectly timed. So anyways, the lyrical content from the song Blame Me was really relevant to the personal experiences that I've been going through in my own life. So it just kind of magically worked out that Colton had this track, and then I felt like I could really deliver the message in the lyrics with so much honesty and truth in my own voice because I was going through those experiences. I love that.
Yeah. Very cool. Now, speaking of more divine timing, let's talk about what's going to be happening this year for Violet Riot. Obviously, live shows aren't going to be happening probably this year, I'm going to say just right now. But what is the plan then for 2021? You guys releasing more singles? Is there an EP ready to drop? Is there an album? Or is there going to be vinyl? What's going to be happening?
Well, we have some more originals we're working on, and we'll release those as we finish them, and then we might put everything into an EP at some point, or we might just keep just putting out single songs, or I think we're still deciding what our game plan is. Maybe Karli has a better idea, or we've sort of we just kind of go with the flow. There's not usually a huge sort of plan. It's usually just as we decide. Typically.
Yeah, we were talking a little bit about just going hard and like writing a few songs a month over the majority of like, let's say 6 months, and just really putting our heads together and creating, more of what we love, because I feel like this project absolutely deserves that level of dedication between the both of us. So yeah, we've been talking about like doing a bunch of songs. So I would expect an EP, potentially an album if it comes out that way, but yeah, I feel like we will be itching to release something soon. Definitely this spring. Absolutely this spring.
Yes.
Okay. Well, that is incredibly exciting. Right about the point in time we get some Violet Riots. Violet Riot is going to be coming out with a Violet Riot.
I like the pun. That's good.
It was going silly for a second, and maybe it stayed silly. I don't know. But I'm a dad of 2 kids, so it just kind of comes naturally. After the first one comes out, all of a sudden just a dad joke comes out at the same time. Like, whoa, what happened?
That's perfect.
Yeah. And then when we had our second one, the dad jokes increased in intensity. So I don't know.
I love dad jokes. I don't even have kids yet. I have a cat. I guess that's some sort of a responsibility. But yeah, no, I'm sure if I do have kids, that'll increase even more, which I look forward to. If that happens.
Very cool. Very cool stuff. All right, gang. Is there anything else you wanted to chat about that I missed that we should be covering right now?
It's pretty much, I think, at least for my end, unless Karli, do you have anything else you'd like to add, or any sort of points?
No, I think that just about sums everything up. I mean, yeah, that's pretty good.
Okay, perfect. Well then, gang, we chatted about a couple of tracks here. We chatted about what's going to be coming up the pipeline, a bit of your guys' history, the fact that Karli runs a music school, so she knows everything that's going on, and she's the mastermind behind all of the music. And Velveteen Audio. I think we should probably just have an advertisement for Velveteen Audio on here.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
Well deserved.
Beautiful. So, Brad, if you're listening in, hello. It was Brad.
Hi, Brad.
It was Brad, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Brad is awesome.
Brad. They have a massive, I'm going to say this right now. They have a massive, what was I going to say? List or roster of people who work at a recording studio. Like most recording studios in this town are one guy hanging on for dear life to like every client he gets. And I'm looking at this team and they have like 12 people that supposedly work there. I don't know if I believe that. And there's like all these staged pictures of people gathered in a studio. I don't know if I believe it.
No, Brad put together an excellent team starting about 4 or 5 years ago when he moved to the location that he's currently in. And, he really just went hard from that, because before that, it was him and an assistant essentially, and so yeah, you're right. It was it was quite on a small scale, but once he made the big move, he really went hard with it, and yeah, he's built an excellent team now, and they are quite busy. They're a very they've become a very very successful studio locally. So
very cool.
Yes.
Soon we'll be able to say the same thing about Violet Riot, I think.
That'd be hopefully, yeah, that'd be
Absolutely.
awesome.
Mm-hmm. Cool. All right. Well, then, until next time, gang, I just wanted to thank you for coming on to the Rock Metal Podcast today.
Well, thanks for having us.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.